slow down. Well, hello there. We just want you to know that the views expressed on this broadcast of Open Forum do not necessarily reflect the views of any 12-step fellowship that would meet at my North Pole or any other place for that matter. This radio station claims no affiliation with any of those 12-step fellowships. So don't get your Christmas tree lights all in a tangled bunch. Now hear those jolly recovery ragamuffins. Your Royal Highness, Eve D., the Prince of Big Bookology, Bruce H., and our pathetic court jester, Mr. Montgomery the Man.
Oh dear. Welcome to Open Forum, everybody. It is December, and this is the time of year that many people do have a whole lot of fun, and it is full of joy and celebration and good food, unhealthy food, healthy food, whatever, flying all over the place, sugary goodies and kids and toys and blah 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 blah, nativities and I love live nativities. I love those. And of course, we know here in the studio that it's all about celebrating the birth of our Savior. We recognize that Jesus wasn't actually born in December, but we celebrate the birth of our Savior. But for some people, even people that love the Lord dearly, and others, this is a really difficult time of year. And so we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. We're going to start out the show with. We're going to start with trivia? Yeah, we are going to do trivia. But we're going to talk to Eve. Hi, Eve, by the way. Hi, Bruce.
Hi. I just want to say, that was a very interesting introduction. The intro to this program is hitting off the chart.
And Eve's going to share from her heart some of her desires of her heart, where she wants to go with her life, her ministry, and some of the things that she is looking forward to. And so we're going to do both of that. But one of the things I'm going to do right away, and those of you who aren't on YouTube can't see this, but this is one of those battery lit candles, YouTube viewers. And I guess it doesn't matter if it's battery lit or it's a real candle. It's the purpose behind it. And as I said in the last week's very short show, which was a memorial for Tim Cook, Brent Cook's brother, that through the rest of this year we're dedicating the Wednesday show to the memory of Tim Cook. For those of you who don't know, one of our board members, a brother who dealt with alcoholism, severe alcoholism for most of his life, passed away while he was working working through his own recovery process at City Team in Oakland, California. And he was a very close friend of mine, and we rocked the Bay Area together, and he was one of the last of the Mohicans of our group to get sober. And he went into treatment, and we don't know what happened, but he passed away in his sleep. And so in honor of Tim, every Wednesday until the end of the year, we're going to dedicate this to the memory of Tim Cook. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I know what I was going to show you guys. This is really kind of cool. Now watch this. See if I don't know if all the lights will light up or not, but let's see here. You like that? My wife said I had to do this.
Thank you, Marcia.
Oh, God.
All right. There we go. Thank you, Marcia. That was for you. You know, most of these shenanigans I enjoy. That is not one of them.
I enjoyed it.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, it's not all about you, Monty.
Oh, gosh.
What? Well, evidently it seems to be in my son's eyes because he keeps calling me Kris Kringle. All right. Okay, so let's go pay for the show and listen to an announcement for a new thing coming up and then Origins treatment facility. And then we'll come back and do trivia. Wow. With the advent of the Affordable Care Act and existing parity legislation, addictions or severe substance use disorders will be considered as other chronic health conditions. Treatment outcomes will be newly defined and closely watched. Reimbursement models will also shift to motivate changes in efficiency and effectiveness of care provided. There are many new and exciting challenges coming down the pike, and we all must be ready. Well, C4 Recovery Solutions is hosting Access, Addiction Executives Industry Summit, as a working conference for board members, senior executives, medical directors, clinical supervisors, mid-level managers, and information technology staff to plan for and implement strategies to meet these challenges. The Addiction Executives Industry Summit will be held at the breathtaking Waldorf Astoria in Naples, Florida, February 9th through the 12th, 2014. For more information and to register, visit www.accesssummit.com. That's AXISSUMMIT.com. And join us for one of the most informative conferences you'll attend all year.
As men and women who have recovered from utterly hopeless states of addiction ourselves, we know all too well what it's like to battle addiction daily. We are Origins Recovery Centers. Here at Origins, we have taken that which we have learned along the way, excised anything unhelpful and unnecessary, infused it with the latest medical research and innovative therapeutic methods, and created what we know to be the absolute gold standard in substance abuse treatment. And Origins provides the most preeminent aftercare and relapse prevention program available in the United States. For a free confidential clinical assessment, call toll-free 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
It's the holiday season, and Hoop-de-Doo and Dickory-Dock, a mouse ran up the trivia clock. The clock's hands struck the mouse in the head, and the trivia clock boldly said, "It's time for Take 12 Christmas Trivia!" Yay!
Hoop-de-doo and Dickory-Dock. I gotta put my hat on. I gotta keep my brains in today. Oh, thank you, Cecil. Okay. All through December, we are going to be doing Christmas trivia here at TakeProRadio.com.
Alrighty then.
Are you ready?
Yes.
The winner of this week's trivia.
I talked to Cecil.
So you're going to cheat, are you? The winner of this all right, gets a lump of coal in their stocking. Okay. Okay, here we go. The famous Christmas story that has been attributed to Clement Clark Moore. We all heard it when we were kids. Do you remember the details? This is the night before Christmas. So here are your questions. You get 3 and a bonus. After hearing a clatter, I ran to the window. What did I do first? And here are your choices. Tore open the shutters, flipped up the shade, pulled open the curtains, or unlatched the latch. After hearing a clatter, I ran to the window. What did I do first? Tore open the shades, flipped up the shade. Tore open the shutters, flipped up the shade, pulled open the curtains, or unlatched the latch.
Tore open the shutters.
Bruce?
I don't think it was any of them.
You don't?
No.
Well, it was.
Pulled back the sash, maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, Eve is correct.
Oh.
It was tore open the shutters.
Maybe Christmas
I don't
Eve
think that's right.
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
That's right. Okay. It is right, Bruce. Don't argue with me.
Well,
Okay.
that's not the way I've been saying it.
That opens up a can of worms.
Okay. In the poem, how many reindeer were pulling the sleigh? Here are your choices: 9, 7, 11, or 8.
Oh, my goodness. In the poem, how many reindeers?
The night before Christmas, and all to the house.
8.
Eve says 8. What do you say,
I'm
Bruce?
going with Eve.
You going with Eve? Oh, well, you both are correct. It was indeed 8 reindeer.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Okay, that's for you, Bruce. Okay, here's your third question. Which reindeer's name did Saint Nick call out first?
Can we get Rudolph in there?
Okay, here's your
Gosh.
here's your choices. Golly. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Okay, which reindeer's name did Saint Nick call out first? Was it Prancer, Dancer, Dasher, or Comet?
Dancer.
I can't think right now.
I'll give you a hint. He whistled and shouted and called them by name now.
Dancer.
Yeah, Dancer. I'm going to go with Dancer, too.
Are you? Well, you're both incorrect. It was now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, 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 snowflake, snowflake, my pretty little snowflake, snowflake.
Okay.
I like that.
You like
Yeah,
that? That's a
that's
cool
kinda
song,
good.
isn't it? Both you flakes. Snowflakes. Okay, here's your bonus
We would
question.
have got it right if we could only think. Gosh.
Hey, I'm in the lead here for that lump of coal.
Yeah, that's right.
And I could use it to warm my toes about now.
Okay, here's your bonus question. It's a yes or no question. It's very easy. Did Saint Nick smoke?
Yes, he did, a pipe.
That's right. He smoked a pipe, and the smoke circled his head like a wreath in the poem.
He did. Well, give me the coal.
All right. What am I going to do with me?
I've never had such a problem with that in my life. That was hard.
Trivia?
Yes.
Oh.
I couldn't think.
Well,
I could give you almost 6 or 7 of the names.
all right. Well, you know,
I
when
couldn't put it
you're the
together.
mother of 4, you have spent
Yeah.
like hundreds of hours watching
Oh gosh.
all those children's Christmas shows and reading to them, and yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of gets
Now,
down into the deep
I-
parts of the brain.
I hadn't thought about that, but see, that's not fair. See,
Well, there's been other things that haven't been fair where I've been. So get over it.
By the way, the listeners that aren't watching on YouTube right now can't see this, but there's a stack of stuff right here. There are stickers, there are recovery CDs, there's recovery DVDs, and there's a ton of books. This is our grand prize package that we're going to be giving away at the end of the show. So hello, YouTube viewers. There it is right there. And we're going to be telling you what's in that and who the winner is. But you got to wait till the end of the show. Okay. I wanted to check in with Eve and find out, we're right on the brink of breaking into the year 2014. And just in the last several months, some things have changed for you. Or I probably should say there's been some light shed on some things that you feel that you want to do, that you feel God is directing you in. And I thought we would take a few minutes before we talk about the difficulties of the holidays, talk about some of the stuff that you're looking at for 2014.
Well, first of all, let me preface the things that I'm looking at with that the bottom line is I don't know. And that's, sure. I don't know. I think I've shared this before on the show, but since I got clean and sober, that seems to be the thing that keeps coming to my mind when I meditate and when I pray, is that I stay in that place of I don't know, and it's not only helped my spiritual walk, but it's helped my recovery as well. It keeps me in a place of expectation and looking forward to adventure instead of trying to plan things out and to know. And that aligns with Scripture, so it's kind of neat that the Holy Spirit kind of inspired me in that way, so that I could put into practice some scriptural principles that way, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
But several years ago, when I was praying and asking the Lord, I don't know what I was doing, but when I got silent, I felt strongly like the Holy Spirit was telling me that I would be getting my hands dirty. And I have not known what that meant, and I still don't know what that means. And I believe strongly that until the Holy Spirit says something different, that's what we rely on. And so that word I have just kind of hung my hat on and trusted that was going to come to pass, and however that's going to be. And I'm about ready to graduate in about a week and a half, with my bachelor's degree in social and behavioral sciences, and I thought that the next step was going to be getting to be a licensed professional counselor, which would have taken another 2 to 3 years. Actually, it probably would have taken more like 5, because after you do your internships and practicum, it's just a long time before you can get enough hours in to become a licensed professional counselor.
Yeah, you are, explain that for a minute though, you are a certified...
I'm a certified drug and alcohol counselor, right, which is very different. I mean, you get specific training for that. I'm also certified in juvenile corrections. All those things, they're specific certifications, and so they're not really something where if I became a licensed professional counselor, I could be a therapist. I could specialize in something, but it's more broad. It's treating mental illness and different things, and counseling in that way. And I wanted to take a Christian emphasis with that, but it still would have taken that long. And I'm 55 years old. That means I probably would have been 60 or older by the time I became licensed. Not very practical, but I was still going to do it. I mean, because that's, that was kind of something that I felt was important, was counseling from a biblical perspective. And I was sitting in a class one day, and I had a teacher. Her name's Lisa, and she continues to support me to this day. And she's a licensed professional counselor, and she said one day when she was teaching, she said that she wished that she had not become a licensed professional counselor, but that she would have pursued theology, seminary. And so after the class, I asked her, what are you talking about? I mean, as soon as she said that, there was something in me that just kind of lit up. And so after class, we spoke, and she said to me, I believe that if people were discipled and encouraged in the Lord the way the Bible instructs us to do, right, that there would be a lot of empty counselors' chairs. because there just wouldn't be a need for
Yeah,
it.
sure.
That so many of the problems and pathologies that we see, not all of them, but a lot of them are related to spiritual sickness and nothing else.
Amen.
And when she said that, there was something in my heart that just exploded, and I knew she was speaking truth. And so I completely switched, and now I'm going to be beginning seminary
That's great.
in January, and so that was the first thing that happened, and then the next thing that happened, and this I give a little shout out to a sponsee of mine, also by the name of Lisa. And as I was praying, she was praying also, and I said, I just don't know if this is what God wants me to do. And there was a open house for people that were interested in beginning seminary, and Lisa encouraged me. She says, I think that you're supposed to go to that, even if you don't pursue the degree, at least go to the open house. So I went to the open house, and I'm sitting there, and it was a whole bunch of students and faculty are sitting in this room, and I'm sitting next to a Native American gal who had just gone through a year-long treatment in the state of Oregon. And you'd think, so she was in recovery from drug addiction, and I think it was meth, so it was a really hard thing for her to break free from. Her parents, she was living in Montana, and her parents sent her to Oregon to this recovery type place, and I said, well, what is the name of it? And she told me, and I didn't know of it, and that's just unheard of. I mean, I've worked in the field for so many years. There's not a treatment center in the state of Oregon that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I said, I've never heard of that. And I said, so it was a year-long program? And she said, yes. And she said, it's very different. They never even mention the word addiction.
Wow.
It's all about discipleship and encouraging you in your own walk with the Lord. And that's what you do is you over this year-long period, you have groups and you talk and you share like you would in a treatment center, but it's not, they don't necessarily talk about the drugs or the alcohol. They take it from a completely different viewpoint. And this gal is now, in seminary herself, and just her whole life has changed around. And when she said that, then another thing, it was like another inspiration. And so I strongly believe in the discipleship part of it. I strongly believe that there's something more to this addiction than what we address in other realms.
Yeah.
And so I kind of have a vision, and the reason I say kind of is because I don't know what it is, but I have a dream of a recovery type house that's similar to what this gal was telling me about, where it's like a year-long program, and it would be that you'd be walking alongside these women, but it would be teaching them basic life skills and involving the community in advocacy for them, hooking them up with different areas of the community that would be helpful for them, getting them involved in volunteer work, helping people that are less fortunate than they are. There's a lot of different components to it. It would be holistic. It would, the physical aspect, exercise, just a lot, eating well, nutrition, having a garden, having, almost like a community of women that would walk alongside each other and be an encouragement. And then as they graduate from the program, they could in turn do those things. It's a biblical principle of discipleship. The older women teaching the younger women.
So sober living home with much more though than just a place that's supposedly safe from drugs and alcohol.
It would be that way, but it would just be that's just part of it. I think that there's so many other aspects of our lives.
Would there be a great emphasis on the spiritual aspect?
Yeah, it would. It's going to be Christian based, definitely. And
when we really look deep within the literature of the mothership, Alcoholics Anonymous, we really look deep into the history, the rich history of that thing. Isn't that what this was all about anyway?
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be bringing us to a place of clarity where we could develop a relationship with our Creator, and that's what it really is all about. But we've missed that. So when I hear you talk about this kind of thing, and I hear others talk about this kind of thing, it's exciting to me, because this is beyond the solution. This is now maturity within the solution, going to the next level, learning learning how to be emotionally sober. Wow, that's exciting stuff. And if it never comes to pass, to have that on your heart, I can't see it not happening. But
yeah,
you don't, like you said, you don't know, but to be willing to go in that direction, like the Apostle Paul did. I mean, God, he kept his eyes on Christ, and if he went in a direction he didn't want him to go, he'd gently move him in the other direction. That's great.
Yeah, to have something that's faith, and you're talking about Christian and Jesus Christ, you're going to hit some obstacles. So you're, but I think that, like Lonnie was saying, to have that vision and to be willing to move in that direction says something about your faith, and your spiritual walk. So I think that's just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you. Wow, that's exciting. It makes me want to have pumpkin pie.
Okay.
There's a passage that we're doing in Romans right now, and it's in Romans 8, and it's 12 through 15, I think, or something like that. And it's talking about suffering with Christ, to enter the suffering with Christ. And I think that that's part of what we do just because of the fallen world. Okay? The fact that we're having these decayed bodies, and then we'll suffer for Christ also. And I think that's what you're talking about. To open up something like this, and to do this when there's such a resistance in the world for it right now. And everybody wants to go the other way. It's like we can manage. Maybe we can't. That's been my message. That's where I'm at with this thing, is that to understand the fallen state that we're in.
Monday's speaker, Adam T., on the show said, if alcohol was your problem, you're probably not an alcoholic.
Now there's a profound statement.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say one more thing before I stop, because you got me
that.
right in the middle of it there, is I think what you're doing is you're taking the focus off of that and putting it on the recovery, which was absolutely just, I'm stoked about.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What a concept. Let's not talk about addiction. Let's talk about the solution. Let's not talk about the problem. Let's talk about...
Well, you can talk about the problem, but it's not necessarily the addiction.
What about this native girl that you were sitting next to? She said they didn't talk about the addiction. They stayed focused on this other thing.
Yes.
You see. And that's biblical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Eve, for sharing that. And for those of you who pray, please pray for Eve, that God lights her path as she depends on Him, and not on her own power, but leans on Him, and that we would all do that. Walking into this new year. I mean, if you're going to make a resolution, resolve that you're going to stop leaning on your own power and start leaning on the power of the one you've been praying to, the one you've been talking to, and wow, that's great stuff. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the difficulties that some of us have during the holiday time, the holiday season, and some do's and don'ts, some suggestions that we can bring you that might help you through that. So don't go away.
Serenity Springs Recovery Center,
located on the beautiful east coast of Florida. A unique facility that is committed to providing exceptional individual care in small group settings while utilizing their experienced and dedicated clinical and support staff of licensed therapists and doctors. Visit their website, SerenitySpringsRecovery.com, or call 386-423-4540. Serenity Springs, making a life-changing investment into your recovery. All right, and we've returned. This time of year can be very difficult, even painful for some folks. Even folks who celebrate the main focus of this time of year, which should be the birth of Christ. You don't have to agree with that. You don't have to like that, but that is what this time of year is about. And so we're gonna talk about that. Not the birth of Christ so much as, we'll talk about that later on, but in other shows. But why do people have such a difficult time during a time of year that's supposed to be filled with so much joy? Even for people that are unbelievers, that are there's lots of people that don't believe in God that have just a hilarious time during Christmas. They just love Christmas. They love the holidays. Why do so many people dread this? Guys?
Gosh, I think there's many reasons for that is what we can come up with. I think as far as addiction goes, that because of the not knowing, and the hustle and the trying to do something and not having anything and not knowing if you're gonna be able to accomplish what you have to do that day to get the money, to find what you need and be all right. And with the holidays on top of it, and the people, it just becomes very depressing, So I think that's as far as addiction goes. But then I think there's other people, just because of the holidays and the quickness of it, I'll say. I was going to say the rat race.
Sure.
And, they just don't like it. They don't like it. Mm-hmm. My wife won't go outside and go to the store at times like this. She does not like it. She can't take it.
Yeah.
So
I hear people say all the time, I don't like the commercialization of the holidays, but yet we do this stuff all year round. We just don't put lights and music to it.
Yeah.
It's really no different.
Are you talking about, Joe, the question that you're asking, the people that really get depressed and suffer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another question there. And Eve, I don't have a real answer for that, but in your field, maybe you do.
Well, the thing that came to my mind was the fact that a lot of us, most of us, not all, but most of us, grow up in homes where there's addiction or codependency, or there's other dynamics, and the added stress of the holidays tends to bring out the worst in all of those addictions. So if you grew up in a home where maybe there was more drinking around the holidays, and so maybe more family outbursts, angered expressions, it tends to, in the lives of children, it tends to affect them greatly. And so you may not even know why you respond to the holidays the way you do. It's just kind of almost like at the extreme, it would be post-traumatic stress disorder. But even at the other end of that, it could just be like this, this underlying uneasiness that you just don't like the holidays. You just don't. You might think it's because it's the hustle and bustle, but really it's the old tapes that go on. It's the things that trigger you to make the connection to your past, even if you're not even cognizant of it. But
I find that interesting.
Yeah.
It's not the hustle and bustle that underneath it's because of something that's taken place. Could you find that
possibly.
most? situations?
No, I don't. I wouldn't even. I don't know. I'm just giving. If you're listening to this radio station, the chances are you've got an addiction or you've got family that's struggling with addiction. So that's why you're listening to us. So there's a good chance that might be part of what's going on. And it could be that you even know that that's what's going on, but you're still powerless to change that emotion, that happens as a result of that. And I can relate to that. I am in my family of origin, my father's bipolar, and he would always go into the depressive part of his disease in the early fall. And he would come out of it almost always like a day or two before Christmas. But while he was in the depressive part, he would, part of how he would express himself to the family is he would really lash out. He was a failure, life was terrible, and we were all terrible and failures. And there was not going to be Christmas this year. I mean, it was so predictable. Yeah. That's the way it would happen.
Wow.
But I also remember thinking that, that it really wasn't going to be Christmas this year. And, you might think, well, that's kind of, selfish to be thinking. But as a child, it was more than just the gifts. What I was really looking forward to is my father becoming manic again. So that he was happy and that life was a little bit more, even though that had its own problems, it wasn't as bad as when he was depressed. Yeah. And so it was a roller coaster ride for me, and it wasn't until I stopped buying gifts, I disengaged from anything that related to my growing up, and that happened a couple of years ago, and that seemed to do it for me. I stopped exchanging gifts. I told everybody, I'm not going to be exchanging gifts, and we just celebrated as a family just by getting together. And this year, I'm actually buying some gifts, but I'm not having that typical response to it. And also, another thing that helped, and I know that this is taboo, and I know it's very, very hard to do when you're depressed. Very hard to do, but to get out there and help those that are less fortunate. By getting out of yourself, and just by doing something like that, I know it's difficult, but it will help. It really will.
Yeah, when you say difficult, sometimes it's just to get up and get out of the house.
Yep.
Right. Right.
Yeah, to get started.
Because and you said some things that were really interesting to me about, and I kept hearing, and this is kind of a word that I'm not necessarily fond of within the recovery process, but I understand it when it comes to something like this, the word trigger. Yes, we market products all year long, but during this time of year, it's in your face. So it would be totally understandable why somebody would be triggered. I mean, it's just in your face. I mean, you've got people, I don't care whether you're saying Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, I don't even want to get into that thing, but whatever it is, people are greeting you more. They're speaking to you more. You may not be one of those kind of people that likes to engage others. On their terms. It's got to be on your terms. You can actually be
an introvert.
Right. You could be healthy in every other area, but that is a little rough. And so you're at the grocery store, all you want to do is buy some eggs, and somebody's saying, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, how you doing, blah, 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 why aren't you smiling, man, cheer up, and you're like, I'm going to kill you. And if I walk by one more person ringing a bell, I'm going to slap them. That might be you. And so you got the lights and the music and the lights and the music and the music and the light.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, it snows. Everything that could go right goes right, and it's all wrong for you. And I think it's important for us to be sensitive to that with people, to let them be who they are. If they're hurting, they don't need us to cheer them up. They they just need to know they matter. Mm-hmm. And that, hey, it's okay. It's okay. People have lost loved ones during this time of year. People got sober during this time of year, and it's really weird for them.
I was sitting here thinking about. I come from a place where my family, they all got together, and we looked forward to the mailman coming, and we hung cards on strings, and there was always we was always doing something. We was into the spirit of the holidays, and it was wonderful. And there's huge gatherings in my house where my dad would bring people from the service that didn't have couldn't get home, and so he'd bring them there, and we'd have these huge gatherings of people. It was just wonderful. And then I came into an atmosphere where people are depressed. And I mean, their siblings and their children are depressed. They suffer from mental illnesses around the holidays, and they just can't get happy. And I don't look forward to the holidays like I did before. They have an effect on me. And I'm wondering if it isn't recognizing that that's going to take place, or afraid that it is.
Right.
And it influences my ability to function properly during the holidays.
Yeah. It undoubtedly does. I mean, we do get influenced by our environment.
I hadn't thought about that, and they can't help it.
Right.
They can't help it a bit. And I'm wondering how many people that are in positions like that, and mothers and fathers and sisters.
Sure, you bet. Well, from the 12-Step Gazette, from the Holiday Survival Guide, and I did some of this around Thanksgiving, and I wanted to touch on it again. There's some other ones that I didn't cover. Here's some do's and don'ts of having a great holiday, and this may or may not help you. But I thought these were really good. Let's look at the do's here. We could talk about don'ts all day long, so let's look at the do's. Make plenty of meetings if you're in recovery. There isn't any time of year when it's justified to cut back on meetings. Least of all during the high-stress times of the holidays. Naturally, there may be times when our schedule gets all messed up. Getting in a slow line while Christmas shopping or working overtime at the last minute. A good solution for us then would be to carry a meeting list with us at all times. If we miss our regular one, we can look up another one nearby. And we talk about how meetings aren't going to keep you sober, but there is an importance of them. And many of us don't need to be by ourselves during the holidays. We really don't. It's not a good place to be. So carry a meeting list with you. That's a good idea. It's a really good idea. Because you don't know when you may need to call on that. Here's another one. Call your sponsor, because most of you don't. Sorry.
Present company not included.
That's right. I say that kind of jokingly, but they did a poll, and I'm not sure exactly how they did this about a year and a half ago. 60% of the members of the mainstream 12-step fellowships do not have sponsors.
How many?
60%. 60%, when polled, do not have sponsors.
Oh, I believe it's higher than that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I do too.
But that just goes to show you how things have strayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, they're trying to get into this and do their own thing, and I think that's why we've become meeting dependent.
Sure. So call your sponsor if you have one. If you don't have one, get one. This sounds corny when we first think about it, but wait. check this out. Between Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve, we will probably go through more feelings per hour than any other time of the year. You're going to need some help with processing them all to make sure they don't build up into a big ball of trouble. Our sponsor is the perfect person for that task, some good old one-on-one counseling.
Yes, and I would like to underscore that one. Definitely talk about your feelings. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's a good way, and somebody that you trust, and just allow yourself to feel those emotions. That
You bet.
those are God-given, and to feel those and work through those is a way of being healed of them.
Number 3, there's 5. Number 3, it's sometimes hard, keep a proper perspective. It's sometimes hard not to get caught up in the spirit of the holidays. It's everywhere. Families, movies, Christmas parties, lonely feelings on Thanksgiving, no date for the New Year's Eve. However, we can't forget who we are and how far we've come. We're addicts and alcoholics who have actually gotten clean and sober. After all the pain and hard work it took to get there, sleepless nights, rough detoxes, and more, we are going to let a holiday ruin it all? Let's hope not. So keep your perspective. Number 4, stay humble. I like this one a lot. We have to remember that our grandiosity, our innate desire to feel important, tends to get a little out of control sometimes, especially with gift giving, approval seeking, and our desire to do the right things. We don't want to put too much pressure on ourselves. We are not going to be able to please all the people all the time. We have to be able to say, I can't. I wish I could, but I'm sorry, I can't. That sentence of acceptance and humility can save us a heck of a lot of self-torture. You know, there's a lot of people that think they think my mother-in-law was like this. If I buy this for this daughter, then I got to buy this for this daughter, and then I got to buy that for that nephew and this niece, and she'd be a mess. You know, no, you don't. You don't have to. If you can't, you can't. I mean, if you can, that's great, but let's face it, most of us can't. And then hang with recovering people. We have very similar issues. We have a certain way of talking about things that always seems to make everything feel better. We know how to live, laugh, and learn from each other. For many of us, the fellowship is like the club we always wish we could belong to. It's not just the camaraderie that's great, but when we're around program people, there are always life tools and coping skills being built up and worked on. So that's some of the do's. If you want to read the don'ts, get your own copy. But we're gonna be sending a copy of this to the grand prize winner along with a bunch of other stuff. The grand prize for our Cartoon Caption Contest. Thank you guys for your input this week.
Thank you.
I think that last part was good if you get into the fellowship and you use it for the camaraderie. They're eating food, and you join in that, and there's always that opportunity to help another alcoholic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, like you were talking about, and I think that's more important than the other. Now, don't want to take away from the other. I think they're both valid, but I think that when you can get out of your head and put the other person before yourself.
Yes. One of the, do we have
Absolutely, go ahead.
There was an idea that from our life group at church, we're trying to come up with some way that we can bless the community this Christmas season, and somebody had the idea of baking warm cookies and putting together a pot. We wouldn't even have to contribute that much because there's so many of us in this group, but we would contribute, let's say, $10 each or something. And then going to a laundromat, and as people come in to do their laundry, because a lot of people that are using laundromat are usually in not the best of circumstances, and so offering the warm baked cookies and fresh brewed coffee, and then offering to pay for their doing their laundry.
Wow.
And then just hanging out. And there wouldn't be any type of evangelical agenda.
Right.
It's just to bless those people and just hang out with them and just talk and interact and just be a blessing to them. So, we're talking about maybe, how many people are involved, maybe a day's worth, taking shifts of doing this. But it doesn't take that much of a time investment. It doesn't take that much of a financial investment. There's ways to get creative of getting out of yourself and being blessing to others. And I'm telling you that the joy that fills your heart when you're able to do that is phenomenal. It's really wonderful.
Besides, it's really a hoot to watch people's faces.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was terrific. That was
great.
I loved it when I heard somebody come up with that. I thought that is just the neatest idea. It's so simple and it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, if it could do that, just talking about it could raise our spirits.
That's
like that.
right.
Just imagine what it's like to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was enjoying listening to you.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, that was an uplift.
Makes me want to go out and do laundry.
Yeah.
Made me want to go and get mine, I'll tell you that. I can get cookies and coffee.
So what laundromat are you going to show up at? Because I want to go there to get my laundry done.
Oh, gosh.
All right, we got something exciting to do right now, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for this for a very long time. We're going to be giving away our grand prize to our Cartoon Caption Contest, and we got a big old pile of stuff here, and we're gonna tell you what that is here. But let's see. I think Cecil is going to show up, and Cecil, are you there? If you are, hit it, Cecil.
Trivia is here. We're gonna give $300 worth of recovery stuff away this year. Yay! Christmas trivia. Oh, the grand prize, hooray! I don't think I can do this song. Oh, heck. Oh, gee. Oh, Lord.
That's all right, Cecil. That's all right.
Well,
what are we doing?
Thank you very much, Monty Man. Today, instead of a song, what we're going to close out the show with is the 2013 grand prize winner of the Cartoon Caption Contest entry thingy that we did. That's right. And Eve and Bruce are going to do the drawing right now. So one of you hold the bucket and the other one, you put your hand in there and reach in and pull out the name of the winner for the 2013 Cartoon Caption Contest grand prize winner, who's going to win over $300 worth of recovery stuff, goodies, just in time for Christmas.
Slow down, Cecil.
So okay, before we announce the winner, drum roll, please. And who's winning?
The winner is Stephen Carter of Columbia, Missouri.
Stephen Carter is our winner. Congratulations, Stephen. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to see if we can make this work. We're going to see if he's home. Should we do this? Should we try and call him?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, let's try to do this. Bear with us, listeners. We're going to try to mic this thing here. Oh, that's annoying. See if Stephen Carter is available.
Stephen's busy.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, okay.
He's probably calling all of his friends and saying, "Hey, I won."
This guy doesn't have call waiting. He's just like me.
Let's try him one more time. Just.
Don't you have redial?
Yeah, but I'm not that smart. Hello. There we go.
Ooh.
See if he's home. Three.
3 ringy dingies.
I'm not going there.
You have reached the voicemail box of...
Okay, well, Stephen is not available, but that doesn't mean he doesn't win. We'll be contacting him. Well, congratulations, Stephen Carter. He is from Columbia, Missouri. Missouri, right? Yeah. Columbia, Missouri. And Stephen is an avid listener to Take 12 Radio. Thank you so much for your loyalty. Okay, this is what he gets. He gets some Dutch Brothers stickers. Yay! He gets... I'm so excited. He gets a CD from Conley White. This is the Journey CD from Conley White. And Leah Martinson CD, Who I Really Am. He gets, these are all recovery CDs. Recovery, God, Jesus, and the 12 Steps by Kenny Keys. He also gets, oh, that's weird, Grace of a Woman by Jamie Marich. And by the way, Jamie Marich and Dan Griffin, Jamie is the one who wrote the workbook Trauma and the 12 Steps, and Dan Griffin, A Man's Way Through the 12 Steps, will be our guest on Friday, this Friday show. Stephen, you also get Applying the 12 Traditions in Your Personal and Family Life by Carol Ann Preston. You get Chris Schroeder's Walking Through the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. You get Chris Schroeder's Walking Through the Big Book. These are all DVDs with 34 one-hour workshops in each one. Dr. Alan Berger's books, 12 Stupid Things to Mess Up Recovery, 12 Smart Things to Do When the Booze and Drugs Are Gone, and 12 Hidden Rewards of Making Amends. One of my favorites is the republished version of the Little Red Book. This is called the Original 12-Step Book, originally titled The Little Red Book. And that has been printed by Tucci Palmieri. Believing in False Gods, I Was a Pagan by V.C. Kitchen. And this is from the Twice Born books for Twice Born people. How many of us worship false gods as we try to satisfy the inner longing for spiritual connection. And this is also about a man's journey through Alcoholics Anonymous. The Intervention book by Kathy L. We have The Outside Looking In by Katie Canaro and Donna May, the 12 Tins, about her abuse that was she found out later was being filmed, and then she came across the films and how she got through that. And this magnificent book, this is my personal copy, and I'm passing it on to you, Stephen. This is the Foundations of Alcoholics Anonymous. There's 3 books in this thing. And it's Children of the Second Birth, Twice Born Men, and, More Twice Born Men and Twice Born Men, Salvation Army, Frank Buckman, First Century Christian Church, Sam Shoemaker, Varieties of Religious Experience, Oxford Group, William James, William Booth, and Carl Jung. And then we got a whole bunch of books by Dick B. And we have a copy of the 12-Step Gazette and the Holiday Survivor Guide. And we've even got some more stuff coming in that Stephen's going to get too.
Wow.
So, that's a lot of stuff. And I just want to thank everybody that donated their books, CDs, and DVDs for this. We are starting up donation for this contest for next year. We're starting in January. So we started this in September this year. So just imagine what this package is going to look like after a year of people donating towards this. And we appreciate everybody that donated to the Cartoon Caption Contest grand prize worth over $300. Wow. And if we had gotten a hold of Stephen, he would have heard this. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. This has been a fun...
I think I would have had Cecil on the air with him.
Yeah, well, we could have done that. It'd have been tricky, but we could have done it. Cecil just kind of comes and goes as it wishes. Anyway, we have our tree up. We have a gray star on the top. I don't know why.
I actually like that star.
I was thinking of painting it, and then I decided not to.
I like it.
Interesting, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, hey, listen, folks. Thank you guys so much for another great show. And I just want everybody to know that we're going to have Christmas trivia the rest of the month. so get ready. It's been a lot of fun this year, and the year's not over. So until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Eve D, Bruce H, and Cecil. And we're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye.
By the way, this has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.